Great presentation, great follow-up conversation. We're going to move on now to HyPoint Inc. and Alex Ivanenko.
Hi, my name is Gur Kimchi, and until recently I was the Vice President of Amazon Prime Air. One of our major challenges was the capabilities of the propulsion system. LiPo batteries are not optimal for long-range missions, and internal combustion engines are dirty. I've always assumed that fuel cells will be the solution, enabling long-range, clean, decarbonized flight, but existing fuel cell systems lack the necessary capabilities. Once I've met the HyPoint team and learned about their technology, my perspective changed. HyPoint's unique capabilities are exactly what is needed to enable clean, long-range flight. I like the team at HyPoint so much that I've decided to join in their journey as an advisor, and I look forward to the innovations their system will enable. Thank you.
Hi, this is Val Miftakov, founder and CEO of ZeroAvia, building the world's first practical zero-emission aviation powertrain based on hydrogen electric technology. We're targeting the entire aviation market with our first product to power 10 to 20 seat aircraft within the next 3 years. We're on the UK's Prime Minister Jet Zero Council, working on getting the single aisle jet up in the air on our technology within the next 10 years. We're very impressed with what Alex and team are doing at HyPoint. I'm an individual investor in the company, and we at ZeroAvia are working with Alex and team on some exciting things that we'll hopefully see in our powertrain soon.
Hi, my name is Dr. Alex Ivanenko, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of HyPoint. We make zero-emission air transport possible. Today, approximately 10% of overall human climate impact comes from aviation. By 2050, that is expected to grow to 25% of global greenhouse gas emissions. So you can't solve the problem of climate change without zero-emission air transport. But the arrival of zero-emission aviation has been limited by the energy density limitation of lithium batteries. It takes 500 watt-hours per kilogram to fly a plane 600 miles, and current lithium batteries have only about 200. This is because air vehicles are more energy intensive than land vehicles, since they need additional power to lift off the ground and during the flight. At the same time, current hydrogen fuel cells can deliver the energy density needed to power air vehicles, but fall short of the specific power requirements. Modern vehicles require 1500 watts per kilogram, but existing fuel cells deliver only 600. And we solve this issue by building the next generation hydrogen fuel cells that can deliver both high specific power and high energy density, exactly what aircraft designers are looking for. Hydrogen has never been hotter. In September, Airbus announced their plan to build a hydrogen-powered electric passenger aircraft. Other top-tier aircraft companies and manufacturers are also developing zero-emission engine platforms based on hydrogen fuel cells. And these activities are supported by governments worldwide. Joe Biden and Boris Johnson announced plans that includes of dollars devoted to renewable hydrogen technology innovation and zero-emission aviation. And I'm happy that HyPoint is a part of these programs. Our new generation hydrogen fuel cell system directly disrupts $1.6 trillion aviation industry. And based on expert estimates, our technology unlocks $25 billion served available market by 2030. That will grow up to $300 billion by 2050. And that is supported by real traction. Now, we have almost $10 million in LOIs and $2 million in development agreements, including ZeroAvia, which founder Val introduced us today. These LOIs represents a potential order book that, if executed, could generate revenues of $120 million in 5 and up to $9 billion in 10 years. And all that is possible because of an exceptional team. My co-founder Brian is a father of fuel cells, and he's an inventor of high temperature membrane. My other co-founder, Sergey, spent 15 years in fuel cell research and development, and he was a member of Ginsburg Group, who was a Nobel Prize physicist. Myself, I'm PhD in electrochemistry, but built my career in international business development at US corporations. I've been taking projects from R&D stage to fully commercialization, exactly what I'm doing right now in HyPoint. Our key advisors have been working in deep tech, aviation, and fuel cells during their entire careers. We are leading the way in global fuel cell research, and our team is able to address any complicated question and risks. And two major risks are technological risk and competition. But as I mentioned, we are no strangers to hydrogen fuel cell technology. We have already validated key parts of our technology by developing the best-in-the-class fuel cells for drones and robots. We already built and sold solutions for real business applications, grossing $500,000 last year. That product allowed us to get all necessary technologies and knowledge to develop new generation hydrogen fuel cell system specifically for air transportation needs. Sergey, please explain how it's possible to achieve so game-changing energy performance.
Our new development is based on our inventions that covered by 7 years of R&D. Our new catalyst and lightweight bipolar plate provide increase in power output and weight reduction. We are using high temperature membrane instead of low temperature, which increases the efficiency of a cooling system by at least 3 times. But the core innovation is the new system architecture, turbo air-cooled system that efficiently utilizes compressed air for both cooling and oxygen supply. That allows to exclude commonly used a liquid cooling system, decreasing the weight of the heaviest part of a power unit by 6 times. Our lead is secured by 15 patents and know-hows. Combination of these technologies allow us to deliver a truly lightweight climate-independent fuel cell with an extended lifespan and to operate the system with low-grade hydrogen, which is 5 times cheaper than purest one. As a result, our solution increases operational time and utilization rate while decreasing total cost of ownership of any flying platform by 90%. HTPM membrane has a lot of advantages in comparison with low temperature one. No humidity control or issues with water management, a lower capital cost due to cheaper membrane chemistry, ability to use low-grade hydrogen which can contain more carbon monoxide. But the main advantage is that high-temperature membrane does not require gas humidification and allows the cooling system to be simpler and lighter. Fundamentally, low-temperature PEM fuel cells can be used for air transportation because they require a heavy cooling system that is much as 2 times heavier than the fuel cells themselves. Cooling efficiency is the key problem that needs to be solved, while most developers are focused on fuel cell efficiency. We dramatically increased cooling efficiency by raising operational temperature from 70 to 160 degrees Celsius and excluding the intermediate liquid coolant at all. As a result, the specific power of our fuel cell is more than 2000 watts per kilogram because the turbo air-cooled system is almost 3 times lighter than LTPM1.
Thank you, Sergey, for these details. Our product is addressed to different markets which completely fits requirements for logistic drones, air taxis eVTOLs, and electric passenger aircrafts. Because we are offering the fully integrated system with easy-to-use and modular approach, with a target price between $100 and $500 per kilowatt in serial manufacturing, which is absolutely competitive with the price for existing power sources. This strategy, traction, and technology allows us to successfully fundraise from individuals and institutional investors. On September 17th, we participated in Alchemist Accelerator's Demo Day, And now we are pursuing a seed round with institutional venture funds. We have already raised a planned $1 million pre-seed round that allowed us to achieve all the goals that we had set up for ourselves. We completed all fundamental research, and now we are assembling a short stack that will be ready to demonstrate in a few weeks. In the short stack, a lot of technological and fundamental validations are concentrated. So the short stack is a core part of the system. Based on our agreements with customers, after the successful short stack, we will build a 15 kilowatts model. Scaling from a short stack to the 15 kilowatts model is not a fundamental modification. Actually, it is the same system, but is built in the other form factor. This is mostly accurate execution of engineering work. Exactly the same work we have to do on the transition to full-scale product, because our modular approach will allow us to scale up the installation by arranging 15 kilowatts model together. That's why we are so confident that we will cover this path in a year and a half. We will be ready to deliver the full-scale 150 kilowatt system in the first quarter of 2022 for the real flight. So, we have technology, proven track record, and a team that has the potential to revolutionize the multi-billion-dollar aviation industry globally. If you would like to join us in our journey, come talk to us. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Do we have any questions? Rich?
Yeah, thanks, Robin. I did have some questions on this. I made some notes after I saw the video last night. What kind of partnerships? I saw some of the partnerships you had, but I wasn't sure about the basis of those partnerships. You showed Airbus, and I know that there's a lot going on with high energy electric propulsion, obviously fuel cells being one of those. Could you explain a little bit more about the relationships you have with those big stakeholders?
Yeah, thank you very much for this question. I also would like to tell you that today in our Q&A session participate our co-founders Brian and Sergey. Regarding your question, so unfortunately we have NDAs with these companies, and I cannot disclose exactly what we are doing with these stakeholders. But be confident that yes, we are speaking with them. We have a few dialogues on that plans, and we are considering a few projects. They're considering us as one of supplier for their electric engine platform based on fuel cells, and perhaps in a few months we will be ready to publicly announce that collaboration.
And just a quick follow-up question. I saw that what you're looking at is potentially, obviously, smaller aircraft for kind of milk runs, San Francisco, LA, London, Paris. That's what it looked like to me, as opposed to long range. And so I guess you're talking about lower altitude propeller driven as opposed to turboprop, or turboprop as opposed to turbojet.
Yeah, so right now we have a few, our business model includes different platforms which we can integrate our system. So we're starting right now with exactly, you're right, so with turboprops and with teaming with Zero Avia, we are creating together powertrain. It's like a retrofit complex to substitute standard turboprops, but also we are working with a few eVTOL companies. We also deliver them a special hydrogen fuel cell system specifically for eVTOLs markets. But of course, with stakeholders, as you mentioned, we are going to build high power level systems, more than 1 and 2 megawatts. So because our systems can be, scale up to any necessary level of energy for any aircraft. So this is an idea. Right now we are working on exactly small aircrafts just to validate our technology in the real flights.
All right, thank you. Harry?
Yeah, it was very interesting. I have two questions for you. Can you tell me something about how long your fuel cells run? What sort of tests have you done?
So, Brian, if you don't mind, could you please answer me on that question regarding a high temperature membrane and durability?
Durability. It's easy to get fuel cells to run on a small scale out to 20,000 hours. And we've done that many times. In other smaller power units, they've been working for years. And in the air transportation, we're probably looking at being able to meet the typical times that that they currently pull airplanes off for general maintenance. I think we can meet all those targets with our current design.
Can you say something about how you're storing the hydrogen? I assume it's pressurized gas, but I didn't know. And how do you address any safety issues with that?
Okay, Sergey Shubenkov, can you please join the conversation?
Hi, thank you for the question. At the moment, we are going to use compressed hydrogen. The typical pressure 350 bars. And this technology is the most efficient for air applications at the moment because it allows to reach more than 10% mass ratio of hydrogen and allow to be compact enough. But for further applications, maybe for the further development, we consider other ways like liquid hydrogen, ammonia, and other hydrogen carriers that could be implemented. But the main point that we are developing power plant rather than the whole system. So we use standard, commercially available, certified hydrogen cylinders at the moment.
Thank you.
John, you had a question?
Yeah. Hey guys, thanks for the presentation. I think I caught this right on the last slide. Can you confirm the temperature limits, the current temperature limits of your cell?
So we are using high temperature membrane, and actually we don't have any temperature limits. So right now, with the requirements we met with in our practice, it's a minus 60 plus 60 degrees Celsius, because high temperature membrane operates at 160 degrees Celsius. It means that any ambient air will cool the system. So that is why it's a, but of course it might be plus 80. Of course it will be depends on which other components on the system you should also choose based on environment requirements. But in general, minus 60 plus 60 as a standard aircrafts manufacturers require, we are completely satisfied.
And what if I wanted to take it real cold, say minus 200 C, minus 100 C? Do you see any issues there?
Sergey? Brian?
Let me explain, please. You see, usually for ordinary fuel cell system, the problem comes from the water. So if you have liquid water, you have a problem with an ice. But HTPM fuel cell does not produce liquid water at all. So all water is removed in vapor form, and no any risk of condensing and of water. And the temperature range is defined actually by other components like electronics, like mechanical parts and others. So most of components today can operate from minus 50 and even minus 60 degrees centigrade. Yes, they are more expensive than ordinary components, but they are they exist.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Paul, you had a question?
Yeah, Alex, really nice presentation. Really good job. I have a question. Earlier in the briefing, there was a piece that described go-to-market partners or potential partners? Without naming them, what types of vehicles are those potential partners operating? And then what types of target markets are those potential partners targeted at?
So right now we are working with customers who represent turboprops aircrafts and eVTOLs with maximum takeoff weight more than 2,000 kilograms. But we are targeting for our system. But we are targeting for narrow and huge fuselage aircrafts. It's a passenger aircrafts, and that is why Airbus, when they announced their plans to build fully electric passengers aircraft based on fuel cells, it means for us that we have found a right niche for our product, and that's market we address to.
So can I just clarify one quick thing, Alex? Am I hearing you correctly that maybe one of your letters of intent is with potentially vehicle systems and partners that go to the passenger markets? Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you going to rely on them for the degree of certification for safety, or have you got a different approach or a different team for certification for safety?
Yeah, I understood the question. It's very, so it depends on the market. So if you remember that we address to eVTOLs, it's the air taxis or just the cargo drones and passenger electric aircrafts. For eVTOL markets, our customer required us to supply them full scale system for like a powertrain, which includes cylinders, pressure regulators, power electronic, everything before engine. So, and based on that, we are going to, together with our customers, because each eVTOLs is individual. We, together with our customers right now, participating in different working groups and governmental programs like Agility Prime, which making the certification process simpler. And again, we are waiting to get for this type of the market, for eVTOL market. We expect to get certification in 2023, 2024. But for passenger aircraft, fixed wing plane, we supply just a few cells with balance of plant. So it means that we are the part of complete powertrain for turbine or turboprops, and we don't need to get a special certification on our system, because again, our customer will get complete full certification for that products independently and of us. Does it make sense?
Yes, perfect sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions?
Yeah, one question, David Jones from DePaulo. Could you speak to the maturity of hydrogen transport infrastructure at the sort of airports you need to target, and what level of dependence are you on the build out of that infrastructure?
I'm living in Palo Alto, and I'm using hydrogen car, so it's a Toyota Mirai. And in each county, you can find in Palo Alto, in San Francisco Bay Area, you can find in each county, 1-2 hydrogen filling stations. And it takes usually 3-5 minutes. And actually, you don't need to get a special certificate to fill up the car. So it can be done by my wife. It can be by anyone. So regarding air transportation, I would like to emphasize that infrastructure question. It's how to say, easy to solve than it's everybody think about. So regarding airports infrastructure, so you should understand that hydrogen, natural gas, propane, butane allocated in the same group of dangerous gases. It doesn't mean that so it's oxygen, but for hydrogen we have to get a special standard. No. It is the same group of dangerous gases. And airports infrastructure right now has all necessary certificates, and actually it's absolutely ready to use hydrogen for filling any hydrogen air vehicles. It's just a question of installation, additional tank, let's say.
Sure. So do you have any sense of, what is the timeline for, if I wanted to leave Palo Alto and fly to, somewhere in Canada, how are they going to fill up my plane when I get back?
So the process is very, very, very simple and very the same. So you just need to connect, the pistol to your aircraft and wait a few minutes. So it's a routine job. It will be the same like for standard fossil fuel. for kerosene, and etc. So persons who working with this equipment will not feel any difficulties to work with hydrogen. As I said before, because I'm right now using also hydrogen car, and it takes 3-5 minutes to fill up my car for the next 300 miles.
Thanks.
So in terms of years, I think it's a question of penetration that technology to the market. So as I know that's it's not expensive infrastructure. It's just a question of installation of this infrastructure to any airports or city.
Harry, did you have a question?
Yeah, can you say anything about who your competitors are for this area, and sort of what sort of patents do you have that protect your position?
Could you repeat, please, the first question, because I understood your question regarding IP patents and what's
who are
the
your
first question?
competitors? There are a lot of people working on electric aircraft at the moment. I just wondered who your competitors were, and then what's your patent protection? What patent
Okay.
right?
First of all, let me again emphasize that we are not aircraft manufacturers. We are manufacturers of hydrogen fuel cell system. It's a power unit for aviation, for any flying platform. And regarding our competitors, so of course we have one, but different technologies. For instance, I don't know, let's say standard low temperature fuel cells. But as Sergey explained in our presentation, it's a fundamentally can be used in air transportation market because the cooling system, because a lot of issues with water management and etc. You should control very narrow range of temperature of electrochemical reaction. So that is why you should install a lot of subsystems. That cooling system is a main restriction to use low temperature fuel cells, existing fuel cells in aviation. So right now, everybody produce low temperature fuel cells for cars, heavy-duty marine, heavy-duty trucks, marine applications, and because for terrestrial vehicles, the weight of the system actually it's not a big deal. But for air transportation market, it's exactly what you should work on. So that is why we don't think that LTPM technology, in general design, cannot achieve such promising results as a high temperature fuel cells can. So moreover, high temperature membrane has a lot of advantages for improvement and the possibilities to improve their performance in comparison with low temperature, because again, low temperature right now membrane achieved, let's say, 90% of their maximum performance, and high temperature membrane is only 50 or 60% of maximum performance we can achieve. So that is why we also have a plan how to achieve 4,000 watts per kilogram for specific power. It is the same level of turbines for passenger aircrafts, and that is you can only do with high temperature membrane. So Sergey, please explain what is about our IP and patents we have right now and how our lead is secured.
Thank you. We protect our IP in two ways. Some of our inventions are protected as know-hows, but others, most of our design inventions in design are already applied as provisional applications. But others, some of patents are being prepared at the moment, and we are going to apply at least 2 patent applications by the end of this year. So at the moment we have at least 15 patents and know-hows, patent applications and know-hows in our portfolio. And we are going to increase this number up to 20 next year.
So I would say that finally, I would say that our lead security 15 patents and know-hows, as Sergey said, and we are 3-5 years ahead of our competitors. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Max, back to you.
Thank you, HyPoint. Really appreciate that. And thanks to all the companies that presented this morning. And now, without further ado, I would like to turn it over to John Carr, the Deputy Chief Technologist from the Marshall Space Flight Center, to announce the winners of this year's 2020 Cycle 2 Forum. Aside from Eternal Glory, you will also be receiving one of these, so be checking for it in your mailboxes. John, the floor is yours.
All right. Thanks, Max. Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. John Carr. As Max said, I'm the Deputy Chief Technologist out at the Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama. So certainly I'm proud to be here representing the NASA CTC, the Chief Technologist Council, as well as the amazing and diverse set of iTech judges that we have. And it's my honor to announce the winners here on the Cycle 2 competition. So I wanted to say all 10 technologies that we saw throughout the last 2 days were, again, some of the most innovative that we've seen. So thank you all to the innovators, to your teams, for bringing forward your companies to iTech. And thanks for making it extremely difficult on all of us on the judging panel. You know, we hope that win or lose, the exposure that you receive here, the relationships that you've built over the last couple of days prove worthwhile for you all as well as for us in accomplishing our mission. So again, thank you. All right, so let's dive in. 3 winners to announce here in no particular order. Let's start with the first one. The first one to announce is HyPoint Inc. for their next generation hydrogen fuel cell system. The focus area for this, as the name suggests, is in power generation and energy. So HyPoint is developing the next generation hydrogen fuel cell system with 0 CO2 emissions and game-changing energy performance for the aerospace industry and air transportation market. I think it's worth mentioning the company's solution increases operational time by 5x and utilization rate by 10x, all while decreasing total cost of ownership of any flying platform by 90%. So some big numbers there. You know, the judging panel felt terrestrially this power generation technology could help enable a cleaner future, helping us enable applications such as zero-emission air travel. And further, HyPoint has very strong application to drones, a rapidly growing field with many interesting end uses. I'm sure a lot of you out there have seen concepts such as automated drone delivery of packages, food, whatever, straight to our doorsteps. And HyPoint technology directly translates into space where mass is king. HyPoint's technology promises to provide a very high specific power energy, very low mass primary power on, for example, a lunar lander, where mass quotes are greater than $1 million per kilogram to the lunar surface. So a very exciting technology. Congratulations to HyPoint.
Hello, everybody. It's really amazing event, and I'm really happy that I'm in top 3 of this competition. But actually, all top 10 companies really exciting, and I would like to thank you very much to everybody. I would like to say thank you to all my team who is working hardly on that project every day, and also would like to say thank you very much our judges, consultants, and trainers who help us, who helped me to make my presentation better. So, and of course, judge and organizers. So, thank you very much. I'm really excited.